Hi everyone. Yes, I'm Witalisson, CEO of Eolus. Happy to be here to present a little about the wind industry and especially about Eolus. This, I think, is a fantastic picture. This can be workplace that is a little different compared to our offices. Here, Johan is standing on the top of the nacelle of Vestas turbine. His workplace is 94 meters up in the air. He has a great view, some days at least. And you really see the proportions and how big the wind turbine really is when you see it this close. But this is an old picture. This is from a turbine and wind farm we built back in 2015. It's a Vestas V112 model. And the number when you speak about wind turbines models are the rotor diameter, 112 meters diameter of the circle that the blades sweep over. So meaning that the blades are 56 meters long, and then the tip height is 150 meters in this case. This would be hopelessly outdated to build in Sweden today. Referring to Vestas models, the largest turbines we are building now and will have in operation in 2020, they have 150 meter rotor diameter compared to 112 meters. So that means 80% more swept area to harvest the energy from the wind that passes the rotor and convert it into electricity. And of course, that is really one of the most significant drivers for the rapid development of wind and the build out of wind that we see in Sweden, in the Nordics, and globally. So, Eolus, we're developing renewable projects, being wind projects, solar PV, it could be wind offshore, and also storage, energy storage. We're developing projects. We enter into sales agreement with investors. We construct the facilities on behalf of the investors. We deliver turnkey facilities to the investors, and we operate them on behalf of the investors. So we don't own wind farms or other renewables ourselves. We've been in the business since 1990, so 30 years in the business. We have our headquarters in Hässleholm in Skåne, about 40 employees. We're listed at the stock exchange, Nasdaq Stockholm at mid-cap, and with a market cap of about 3 billion SEK. And we have built about 15% or so of the wind power installed in Sweden. And besides Sweden, we're active in Norway, Finland, the Baltic states, and also in the southwestern USA. I shouldn't bore you with the numbers, but we had a turnover last year of 2 billion SEK. And Eolus has always been profitable on the last line each year, but for 2015, 2016. And the board has told me that that cannot happen one more time. Key aspects of investing in the Nordics. I agree with everything that Martin just said in his speech regarding the opportunities and challenges. And there's been a lot of things, and are a lot of things going on in the Nordic markets. So we can build large-scale projects. The energy agreement from 2016, yes, has been weakened, but still already 90 billion SEK has been committed to be invested in Swedish wind since the agreement was made. And that's the reason why we'll see such a really large increase of Swedish wind in the coming years. Well, quite well-functioning markets, possibilities for foreign investors to invest in euros. Electricity is traded in euros, so it also, and turbines are bought in euros, so it limits the currency exposure for many of the foreign investors. Good winds, quite okay grids. Of course, you have to find the right spots to build your wind farms where it's really needed and where it's possible to connect to the grid. And the technology continues to develop. The largest turbines now presented by the manufacturers for onshore wind, they have rotors like up to 170 meters of diameter. And you can imagine what that makes to add those meters at the outer border of that circle. And that of course pushes cost of energy further down. And it's also important the phase out of the support regimes. Yes, the really low prices of electricity certificates, it hurts the one who invested early, and those are the ones who need it most. But for new projects, we and all the other developers in the market for several years ago took the standpoint that we will not make ourselves dependent on any subsidiaries. All projects has to be done on grid parity levels. I will see an increasing trend for corporate PPAs, power purchase agreements, long bilateral agreements. And this is also demonstrated in the last statistics from the Swedish Wind Energy Association. The line furthest down is the number of wind turbines installed at each year end in Sweden. So we had 4,100 turbines installed by the end of 2018. The middle line is the capacity in megawatt, and the line on top is production in gigawatt hours. And Sweden has a consumption of about 135 terawatt hours per year, so 135,000 gigawatt hours. So that is what you should compare those numbers with. And looking ahead, you see that, yes, the number of wind turbines will increase, but not by that much. Until 2022, the forecast is that we will have 5,400 turbines compared to 4,100 today. But the installed capacity will increase, so meaning that we will have larger and larger turbines. And the production will increase even more, meaning that the efficiency of the turbine will increase, which of course supports lower cost of energy. So the forecast is that until 2022, the production will double from Swedish wind in just those few years. And we know that that is going to happen because the investment decisions for that are already taken, construction has started, and the wind farms will be taken in operation. And returning to Eolus, yes, we see the same for us, looking at what we have installed from 1991 when we built our first turbines and up till today and until 2021. We expect to have installed about 1,800 megawatts until the end of 2021. Looking at the partners and investors that we have worked with in the recent years, we see a variety of investors. We have fund managers, asset managers like MEAG, being the asset manager of Munich Re, one of the largest reinsurance companies in the world. We've done several deals with them. We have EWZ, that is the utility of the city of Zurich. And we have, as mentioned, tech companies investing in long-term PPAs to supply mainly their data centers. So we've done several deals with Google and also with Amazon for our first US project. And what is also really important is the heavy electricity using industry like Alcoa, Norsk Hydro, Elkem, Boliden, and companies like that. When they invest in long-term PPAs, they do it just because it's the cheapest way of sourcing electricity for the coming decades. These are the projects that we work with, and you have followed Eolus in the recent years. You know that we communicate about what we call the 900 million euro plan. It's these 8 projects, and we said this is what you can expect from Eolus until 2021. We have delivered the Sundsvall cluster, being Kråktorpet, Genås, and Nylandsbergen, and the Jönköping project, Söderfällan. So we now have handed over them to the investors, and we operate them on behalf of them. Bäckhammar in Värmland and Stigafjället in the area of Stavanger in Norway are under construction. We have just started construction also of our largest project, Øyfjellet in Norway, 400 megawatts. And also our California project, Windwall, and I'll come back to those two. So we expand our asset management services. The investors, especially the financial investors, they don't want to build up operation units of themselves, so they want us to take care of their facilities, and we're happy to do so. A couple of words about the Øyfjellet project. It's located in the mid of Norway, but outside a small city called Mosjøen. It's a city with only like 13,000 inhabitants, but in that city, Alcoa has one of the largest, probably the largest aluminium meltery in Norway. So they are consuming enormous amounts of electricity, at least more than 2 terawatt hours per year. So there is the fjord, a deep harbor, and just opposite the fjord, this mountain rises 600, 700, 800 meters, almost vertical up from the fjord. And on top of that mountain, we have been successful in developing this project where we can build a wind farm of 400 megawatts, producing about 1.3 terawatt hours of electricity per year. And with the technological development, we can do it with only 70 to 75 wind turbines. And we managed to succeed to do a PPA with Alcoa back in 2018. And this, I think, is really important because they want to secure long-term power prices. And this was the cheapest way to do it. They could of course, buy hydro, which there's abundance of in Norway. They could buy from nuclear or whatever. But the cheapest way to source it for this long term was from a new built wind farm just opposite their facility. That's very important to bear in mind. We hope to have this in operation by the end of 2021. And you can follow how the project progresses on both the webpage and the Instagram. Another interesting project is our wind wall project. It was built in mid-80s, and you can see, it's small pictures, but you can see how it looks. And you who have been in California, in the area of Tehachapi, northeast of Los Angeles, or in the Palm Springs area, you know how it looks, and it does not look pretty, I cannot say. But here is a wind farm with 400 old Vestas turbines, Vestas V19, with really small rotors. So we have now removed them. We will replace them with 13 new Vestas turbines V126. And the new, and we can reduce the grid connection and some of the transformer stations. We can renovate them and reuse. And the new wind farm will produce 3.5 times more electricity compared to what the old 400 turbines did. That's really showing the technical development over just a few decades. And we managed to secure a PPA with the Amazon Web Service for that wind farm. So we hope to have it in operation this autumn. And finally, a look at our current portfolio. We have almost 6,000 megawatts under development in these different markets. And it's important also to know that everything is not like it is in Sweden or in the Nordics. So a quite big portion of our portfolio is now solar PV and energy storage. And especially they are in the southwestern US, where we have, of course, much more production from a solar PV facility, and also a much higher need for storage, since they are so blessed with hydro as we are in Sweden. Thank you.
Johnny. Thank you very much, Per. I'm happy I'm not having this job with the vertigo. That would be, it looks scary, but beautiful. Thank you for your presentation. We have quite a few questions from you here on the app. One is, can you handle even larger projects? I mean, the one in California is big and the one in Norway is big, but how big can you go?
Yes, I mean, in the US, everything is bigger, always. So these are quite small projects compared to the largest wind farm, I mean, in the Midwest or so. Of course, large projects.
Do you have that capacity to be in that competition?
Yes, we can never be a major player in the US, for instance. We have to focus on where we really can make a difference. But we can absolutely do larger projects.
Thank you. Have you seen large corporate demands for PPAs?
Yeah, yes, of course. As we see Google, Amazon, Alcoa, and we see increasing interest from the Swedish electricity-intense industry, absolutely.
Thank you. This is more of a comment than a question, actually. Eolus, your growth is going forward. Your growth going forward could be more predictable as the Swedish energy agreement is in place, and your market share of 15% must make more interesting from foreign institutional investors like Google. Do you agree on this comment? What are reflections on this topic of the legal agreement or the energy agreement in Sweden?
Yes. I think it's much about words from the politicians now. We have shown, we and others, have shown how much can be done in a short time, and you cannot stop the train now.
Great. Can you tell us some more about your progress within the energy storage area? What technology and when do you expect the system to be on the market?
Yes, we're not developing any own technology. The energy storage systems are mainly battery storage for the solar PV farms in California, Nevada, Arizona. You have to be able to store the electricity overnight. But we're also working with the standalone battery storage projects in the larger cities of the area.
Great. Any questions in the room? Hand up, microphone coming along. And you know, those of you that are not present in the room, you can ask questions via the app.
Hi, Per. My name is Robert.
Hi.
Would you mind commenting a little bit on how your development will look after 21? How much will be wind projects and other business?
Yes, on the last slide, there was showing our project portfolio. You can see what we have a different kind of projects in the different markets, and also in our last report, we also announced what projects we are focusing on beyond 2021, which project we prioritize to build in the years 2022 to 2025. But they're smaller. So some of them are, yes, they're smaller. There are no such exceptional projects like Øyfjellet, apart from a large solar PV project in Arizona, which is like 450 megawatt. But many of the projects now are smaller. It's more a focus in Sweden. It's more a focus on the southern parts of Sweden, where the need is higher and electricity prices are higher and grid costs are lower.
Well, thank you very much, Per Witalisson, for your presentation and your answer to the questions. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.